Is this sword really just a big kitchen knife? Hey guys, this is Scholar Juno Mojian Bing. Today I want to take another look at the Song Dynasty infantry sword, or the Shou Dao, and talk a little bit about its origins. So, I previously made a review of this weapon. This is an LK Chen sword that I purchased, and you can find the video for that up above. However, one thing I didn't talk about much in that video is where exactly does this sword design come from, because it's a fairly radical departure from previous single-edged sword designs in China. Prior to the Song Dynasty, a lot of Dao or single-edged swords look something kind of like this. They're not always this narrow, they're not always quite this long. Basically, you have a blade that grinds down to the edge. It could be a steeper grind with a bevel like this one, or it could be something much more gradual, maybe a little bit broader, but not too much. And you usually have a kind of rounded tip out here. Beginning in the Han Dynasty, Dao like this saw extensive use up to the Song. During the Song Dynasty, we still have quite a few designs more in this style, but we also, a new type of Dao comes in and it looks something like this. And you can just see there's a massive difference in what these actually are. So the older design is a little bit longer, a little more narrow, right? Not quite as blade heavy. Whereas this thing is just like a chopper and just meant to cleave into whatever is in front of you. And in my previous video, I did talk about how a design like this makes a lot of sense in the context of, East Asia, 9th to 12th century, because there's a lot of heavy armor at that time, and whenever you're using all these robust weapons to counter armor, having a blade which might not be designed to cut through armor but can at least withstand a lot of punishment is very important. And you can see the spine here is just very massively thick. So this sword is, very sturdy and durable. But let's talk about where this actually comes from, because at the time I made my first video, I had not found any evidence that suggests, where this might come from. However, I talked with some subscribers and some other people, and they were like, maybe this is an agricultural tool that's been co-opted to be a weapon. And his theory that it comes from an agricultural tool definitely makes a degree of sense, but I wanted some more concrete evidence to, make a tentative conclusion about where this type of design might have come from. And after doing quite a bit of digging, I actually found some evidence which suggests that this type of Dao is actually related to Chinese chef knives, or Cai Dao. Now this chef knife that I have here is a modern one with like a fake hamon, and it has a very modern looking handle. But just ignore that. The main thing is that this serves as an example of a Cai Dao, or a vegetable knife, or a chef's knife. So in China, Cai Dao or vegetable cutting knives like this are used all the time, and they also have thicker, beefier versions that are meant for butchering things and processing meat. But I wanted to know, how long in history does this actually go, and is this at all related to the Song Dynasty Shou Dao? What I found was there's at least one tomb dated to the Northern Song Dynasty, and in the tomb it has murals painted on the walls. And on one of the murals it shows a woman preparing food, and she's using a Dao that looks even more like the Shou Dao than the Cai Dao that I have here. So does that finally settle this mystery of the origins of the Shou Dao? Does it definitely come from the Cai Dao? I'd be hesitant to make a definitive conclusion out of this idea for now because of a couple reasons. Number one, we know that the Shou Dao comes from the Song Dynasty, and now we know that the Cai Dao is also present in the Song Dynasty, but we don't necessarily know which one comes before the other one, and it seems logical to assume that the Cai Dao precedes the Shou Dao. However, we have to be careful because earlier depictions of cutlery in China don't really look like this. They look more like Western-style kitchen knives. And because our earliest evidence for the kitchen knife like this goes back to the Song Dynasty and does not precede the Shou Dao, I'd be hesitant to say, the Shou Dao definitely comes from this. Additionally, many Song Dynasty Shou Dao have a tunko, or blade collar, that has this part that sticks out much further than the rest. And this is a type of fitting that definitely came from the Avar Khanate and worked its way all the way to China through Central Asia. So we know already that there's features on this sword which are coming from outside. Now, I don't think that this was a sword that steppe people used very much. I don't think that's very likely because, for one, this sword is not that good on horseback. It's kind of short, it's very heavy. And for two, this sword really makes most sense in a very heavily armored context. And the nomads that are really out far on the steppe, far away from big sedentary civilizations, don't tend to wear extremely heavy armor. I definitely think that this type of blade design originated somewhere around modern day northern China, but I'm not 100% sure that it came from the kitchen knife. And we need more evidence to say that it comes from the Cai Dao, and that's where you guys can come in. So if you guys have any archaeological evidence for, squarish Cai Dao that predate the Song Dynasty, I would be, super happy to see that, because it would really tie this theory together And the more evidence that we have for this idea, then the more likely it is to be true. Alright, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe and don't forget to stay sharp.